Today we're diving into a chilling intersection of art and crime as we explore the dark world of photographer serial killers. From professional photographers to hobbyists, these individuals use their cameras to document their twisted realities, capturing not just images but their heinous acts. Join us as we uncover the stories of 5 notorious figures who blurred the lines between creativity and monstrosity. Wayne Williams, the convicted serial killer linked to the Atlanta child murders in the late 1970s and early 1980s, had an interest in photography. He worked as a freelance photographer and was known to take pictures for various local events and individuals. His arrest came amid a series of murders of African-American children and young adults in the city, known as the Atlanta child murders, which took place between '79 and '81. Although he was convicted for only 2 adult murders, many believe he may have been involved in the broader series of child murders. Williams has consistently maintained his innocence, and the case remains controversial. Over the years, several of the child murder cases have been re-examined, but Williams remains the only person convicted in connection with the killings. Christopher Wilder was an Australian-American serial killer. He committed his crimes in the late 1970s, known as the Beauty Serial Killer. He was responsible for the abduction, rape, and murder of at least 8 young women across several states in the US, as well as suspected involvement in many other cases. Wilder's modus operandi often involved luring victims by pretending to be a photographer or offering them modeling opportunities. His crimes shocked the nation and highlighted the vulnerabilities of young women during that era. On April 1st, 1984, Wilder was inadvertently photographed in the audience of a beauty pageant, where he'd target and later kill a 17-year-old young lady, Rodney Alcala. He was an American serial killer and sex offender, often referred to as the dating game killer because of his appearance on the television show The Dating Game in 1978, shortly after he had committed several murders. Alcala was convicted of the murders of at least 5 young women in California in the 1970s, though he is suspected of many more. Alcala's case was particularly notorious due to his intelligence and manipulative behavior. He was arrested multiple times, and despite being convicted in the late 70s, his sentences were overturned due to technicalities, allowing him to continue to commit crimes. He would often take pictures of his victims, both during and after their abductions. Alcala's dual identity as a photographer and a criminal adds a chilling element to his story. Joe Naso is an American serial killer who was convicted of murdering 4 women in California in the 1970s and 1990s. He was arrested in 2009 after a cold case investigation linked him to the murders through DNA evidence. In 2011, he was found guilty of the murders and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Naso's case is notable not only for the heinous nature of his crimes, but also for his eccentric behavior during the trial, where he attempted to represent himself. He often displayed a lack of remorse and made bizarre statements, further drawing media attention to his case. He worked as a freelance photographer and had an interest in taking portraits. His background in photography was part of his life, but it also played a role in his criminal activities, as he used it to document his victims. Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer, known as the Milwaukee Cannibal, was an American serial killer and sex offender who killed and dismembered 17 males between '78 and '91. Many of his later murders involved necrophilia, cannibalism, and the permanent preservation of body parts, typically all or part of the skeleton. He often took photographs of his victims, both before and after their deaths. These images were part of his disturbing compulsion, as he sought to document his crimes in a way that was deeply tied to his psychosis. Dahmer's use of photography is one of many chilling aspects of his life and crimes, reflecting his desire to capture and control his victims. Thanks for watching.